Welcome to your second appearance.
Yeah.
I think this will be about episode 32, 33. What does that make us in the podcasting ranks?
So 21 episodes means you're in the top 1%.
Cheers. We're in the top 1%.
So yeah, top 1% of podcasts. I actually, when I go see some estate agents, I do this kind of intro for people who are not familiar with me, and I'll say something along the lines of, so just to introduce myself, I'm a top 1% podcaster in the world. And it's said in that way to come across as kind of overly confident / verging on arrogance for them to go, all right, who
credibility.
Yeah, and it's like, who does this guy think he is? But then I follow on to it by saying, how many episodes do you think I had to do to be a top 1% podcaster in the world? And they'll all go, a few hundred, whatever. And I go, 21 episodes. So the difference between, average to good to exceptional, it's not actually that big. You just got to put one foot forward and go from there.
What a great analogy. And it made me just think, this is off the cuff, right? But it's made me think straight away, I wonder how many estate agents listening to this want to be a top 1% agent and what that would actually take. We can dive into that today.
Yeah.
I've got a great belief, and this is with 30 years in the industry, but more so regardless of the experience, that there's never really a market problem. It's a mindset problem. And I think that's more prevalent now than it's been ever in our industry. I really do see the difference between, it feels like the top agents and the rest, there feels like there's this gap appearing. What do you see?
Yeah, it's interesting there because I think you've got agents in two camps. So one half will see challenges, the other half will see opportunity. So like with the whole, and I'm not going to claim to understand the ins and outs of it, but like the Renters' Rights Bill, massive opportunity for agents to show their value and their worth, to try and convert self-managed landlords into landlords managed by agents. About 82% of landlords manage their own property. It's a huge amount, it's ridiculous, and they're not seeing value in a letting agent. Now, if I go back to, got to get my dates right, I think it was 2019 when we had the tenant fee ban. Yeah. The business I was in was going, shit, like
we're going to lose this amount of money.
But when we sat down and went, well, actually, can we increase our fees here? There's bits over here we're not charging for. All of a sudden, that part of the business becomes more profitable. So yeah, challenges or opportunities. And the two most dangerous sentences I hear time and time again from estate agents are, we've always done it this way, or that will never work in our marketplace. But there's always...
Or our window display isn't big enough.
Yeah.
But, I heard all of those things, especially as an area manager years and years and years ago. You'd get a new office. You'd normally get a really profitable office taken off of your hands and given a real dud because you've proved yourself to turn offices around. And the highest piece of motivation was to take something that's making a couple of $100,000 profit and give you something that's making maybe $100,000 loss. Yeah. I mean, it used to really buzz me up on the drive over to one of these offices. But I look back now and it was, the mindset piece, it's a really interesting because you hear a lot around mindset and mindset's a very overused kind of word, if you like. But we were just talking before you joined, before we switched this on, about an agent that reached out to you. Obviously, without naming the brand, I know you won't anyway. You're very careful. Tell us a little bit about that, what actually happened there.
It reminded me of myself almost 10 years ago when I reached out to you, where kind of Groundhog Day, no man's land of it's just the same repetitive shit over and over and over, and the people around you, what is it? They're either drains or radiators. Yeah. And I think that person has got drains around her, but they're sapping the life and energy out of like the room, which is not a nice environment to be in. And there's that saying, what is it? You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. And that's why I first sought mentorship from you, was that I went around the people in the business I was in who were senior to me to try and get even better. And I was shocked. But I was like, okay, there's nothing I can learn from these people, hence why I invested in myself and came out of those four walls. But it's an interesting one in terms of like the mindset side of things, because I'd kind of throw it back to you as an employer. It's like it's responsibility on both sides, from the employee to want to get better and the employer to want to make sure those employees get better as well. You'll have some employees who say, my employer doesn't do any training. And then I hear employers going, they don't want to do any training. It's like there's got to be a concerted effort there. There's a really interesting study. I can't remember the exact details of the name, But long and short of it, if you go get a degree and you do a few years at university, your coursework, your lectures, your exams, whatever, 3-4 years worth of work, basically every year after that, you need to do 250 hours of studying to remain relevant.
Okay.
So if you're not doing 250 hours of learning a year, so 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day, if you're an estate agent driving around for appointments, it's easy to listen to a podcast for an hour a day. Your knowledge is becoming dated. So the agents who could maybe get away with a certain way of doing things 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, like every year, that thing they did is getting more and more outdated. So like, for example, and I will shut up, I promise.
No, keep going. This is interesting.
I remember one particular agent I worked with, and he'd bang on about, it's probably 30 years experience now, actually. But he would say, I've got 25 years experience. It's like, you've actually got 1 year of experience 25 times over.
Yeah.
You're not learning, like you're not getting any better. You're not changing anything. You're just doing the same thing you always did. And it might have got you to here, but it's not going to get you there.
So she reached out to you and she was like, I'm getting drained by the people around me, or I don't know where I'm going. What was the...
Yeah, I think similar to me in terms of, if this is the rest of my career, that's not a great place to be.
Yeah.
And my own journey, which I shared with the person, was I seeked mentorship and improve things within the environment I was in. But then I think as I grew, I realised actually I need to step out of that environment and go somewhere else. Yeah. But without me taking that first step and having some accountability, responsibility and taking action, that would never happen. But I think the vision for me was, imagine in 10 years' time if you were sat in that office on that high street and going, fuck, why did I never take that opportunity? And I think people always regret the things they didn't do rather than regret the things they did do.